In this video, we present the story of Jack the Ripper, the infamous unidentified serial killer who terrorized London's Whitechapel district in 1888. This account will blend investigative detail with insights into the mind of the killer, grounded in what is known from historical records and modern forensic understanding, while avoiding speculation beyond what evidence supports. In the gaslit, fog-choked streets of Whitechapel, East London, in the late summer and autumn of 1888, a predator emerged whose crimes would echo through history. Jack the Ripper, as he came to be known, was a shadow who struck with surgical precision and vanished without a trace, leaving behind a trail of mutilated victims and a city gripped by fear. His identity remains one of the greatest unsolved mysteries in criminal history, but the evidence, crime scenes, victimology, and contemporary accounts offers a chilling glimpse into his methods and mind. Whitechapel in 1888 was a squalid, overcrowded slum teeming with poverty, prostitution, and crime. The East End was a stark contrast to London's wealthier districts, with narrow alleys, dim streetlights, and a population struggling to survive. Prostitutes, often destitute women with few options, were easy targets working the streets at night. The Metropolitan Police, underfunded and understaffed, were ill-equipped to handle a sophisticated killer in such a chaotic environment. Forensic science was in its infancy, no fingerprints, no DNA, and only rudimentary autopsy techniques. The Ripper is most commonly associated with 5 murders, known as the Canonical Five, occurring between August 31st and November 9th, 1888. These victims, Mary Ann Nichols, Annie Chapman, Elizabeth Stride, Catherine Eddowes, and Mary Jane Kelly, were all prostitutes killed with escalating brutality. Let's examine the forensic details of each case as a forensic scientist would, and infer the psychological traits of the killer as a forensic psychologist might. Mary Ann Nichols was found in Bucks Row, her body lying in a dark, secluded alley. Her throat was slashed with 2 deep cuts, severing major blood vessels, and her abdomen was mutilated with jagged incisions. No blood spatter was noted far from the body, suggesting she was killed lying down, likely after being strangled to unconsciousness, as there were signs of bruising on her neck. The lack of defensive wounds indicates a blitz attack, sudden and overwhelming. The abdominal wounds, though crude, suggest a post-mortem focus on mutilation rather than torture. The speed and silence of the attack point to a confident, organized offender. Strangulation to subdue the victim suggests control and a desire to avoid noise, indicating planning. The abdominal mutilation hints at a fascination with the body, possibly driven by sexual or sadistic impulses, though no evidence of sexual assault was found. The escalation in mutilation and organ removal indicates growing confidence and a deeper fixation on the act of dissection. This could reflect a paraphilic interest, e.g. necrophilia or mutilation fetish, or a need to degrade the victim, possibly tied to rage or misogyny. The choice of a slightly riskier location suggests thrill-seeking behavior. In this chilling narrative, each victim represents a piece of the puzzle that continues to haunt the streets of London. The brutal nature of these murders, combined with the mystery surrounding the killer's identity, captivated public attention and spawned countless theories. Despite numerous police efforts and public panic, Jack the Ripper remained at large, a ghostly figure haunting the alleys of London. The investigation was hampered by the lack of forensic technology available at the time, making it nearly impossible to gather definitive evidence. As the months passed and the murders continued, fear gripped the community, and various theories about the killer emerged. The sensationalist media of the time often exaggerated details, contributing to the frenzy and further complicating the investigation. Public outcry grew as the community demanded action from the authorities, leading to heightened efforts from the police to capture the elusive killer. Each victim's story was meticulously examined in court, but despite extensive investigations, the mystery of Jack the Ripper remained unsolved. Numerous suspects were named and examined, but definitive evidence evaded investigators, allowing the legend of Jack the Ripper to grow. As the search intensified, the public's fascination with the Ripper only deepened, leading to a plethora of theories, books, and folklore surrounding the case. Despite the passage of time and countless investigations, Jack the Ripper's true identity remains one of the greatest mysteries in criminal history. The legacy of Jack the Ripper continues to fascinate and horrify, sparking ongoing research, documentaries, and an endless quest for answers. Today, advances in forensic science and historical research provide new insights into the case, offering hope that one day the truth will be uncovered. The story of Jack the Ripper remains a haunting reminder of the dark side of humanity, bringing attention to issues of social injustice and the plight of women throughout history. As we continue to explore this chilling saga, it invites us to reflect on the lessons learned and the ongoing fight for safety and justice in our communities. In examining Jack the Ripper's legacy, we uncover not only the stories of those he targeted, but also the resilience of the human spirit in the face of unspeakable horror. 3. Elizabeth Stride, September 30, 1888. Crime scene. Found in Dutfield's yard, Stride's throat was cut, but there was no abdominal mutilation. This murder occurred shortly before another, earning the night the name Double Event. Forensic analysis. The lack of mutilation suggests the killer was interrupted, likely by a passerby, as a witness reported hearing a commotion nearby. The throat cut was consistent with previous attacks, deep and precise, but the absence of further wounds breaks the pattern. Psychological insight. The interruption likely frustrated the killer, as mutilation appeared central to his ritual. His ability to flee undetected reinforces his cunning and familiarity with Whitechapel's labyrinthine streets. Catherine Eddowes, September 30th, 1888. Crime scene. Found in Mitre Square, Eddowes suffered extensive mutilation. Her throat was slashed, her face was disfigured with cuts to the cheeks and eyelids, and her abdomen was opened. Her uterus and left kidney were removed, and intestines were placed over her shoulder. Forensic analysis. The facial mutilation and organ removal were more precise and extensive than in previous cases, suggesting the killer had time and privacy. Mitre Square was secluded. The kidney's removal, a small and deep organ, indicates significant anatomical knowledge or practice. Blood pooling suggests she was killed on the spot, with no signs of struggle. Psychological insight. The facial disfigurement suggests personal rage or a desire to dehumanize the victim. The organ removal, particularly the kidney, is unusual and may reflect a trophy-taking behavior, common in serial killers seeking to relive the crime. The double event shows the killer's compulsion to kill again after being interrupted with Stride, indicating an intense psychological drive. Mary Jane Kelly, November 9th, 1888. Crime scene. Found in her room at 13 Miller's Court, Kelly's murder was the most brutal. Her throat was cut to the spine, her body was eviscerated, and her heart was removed. Her face was hacked beyond recognition, and organs were scattered around the room. Forensic analysis. The indoor setting gave the killer time to indulge in extensive mutilation. The heart's removal and the degree of disfigurement suggest a peak in the killer's violence. The scene was chaotic yet controlled, with no signs of a struggle, indicating Kelly was likely killed quickly before the mutilation began. Psychological insight. The extreme mutilation points to a killer fully immersed in his fantasy, possibly reaching a crescendo of rage or sadistic pleasure. The private setting allowed him to act without fear of interruption, revealing a desire for prolonged interaction with the body. The heart's removal as a trophy suggests a need to possess the victim entirely. The investigation and the Jack the Ripper persona. The murders sparked a media frenzy, with newspapers publishing gruesome details and fueling public panic. The name Jack the Ripper emerged from a letter received by the Central News Agency on September 27, 1888, signed by someone claiming to be the killer. The letter, dubbed the Dear Boss letter, taunted police and promised more murders. Another letter, the From Hell letter, accompanied a piece of human kidney, allegedly from Eddowes, though its authenticity is debated. Forensic analysis of the letters, ink, handwriting, and paper, was inconclusive, but they suggest a literate individual with a flair for theatrics. Psychologically, if authentic, they indicate a narcissist craving attention and control over the narrative. The police investigation was hampered by limited forensic tools. Bloodstains were noted but not analyzed chemically, and no fingerprints were collected as the technique wasn't yet standard. Suspects included local butchers, surgeons, and even high-profile figures like Prince Albert Victor, though no evidence linked them conclusively. The killer's ability to evade capture suggests familiarity with Whitechapel, possibly a local resident or worker. Psychological profile of Jack the Ripper. As a forensic psychologist, I'd construct a profile based on the crime scenes and victimology. Demographics: likely male, aged 20 to 40, based on the physicality of the attacks and typical serial killer profiles. He was likely a Whitechapel resident or frequent visitor, given his ability to navigate the area and escape. Personality: organized, intelligent, and socially functional enough to blend in. The taunting letters suggest narcissism and a desire for infamy. The escalation in violence points to a compulsive, thrill-driven personality. Motivation: the mutilations suggest a mix of sexual sadism, rage, and possibly a desire to punish prostitutes, reflecting misogyny or personal trauma. The organ removal indicates trophy-taking, a hallmark of serial killers seeking to relive their crimes. The question is, who's Jack the Ripper? The increasing brutality suggests a decompensating psyche where the killer's fantasies grew more extreme. Why did the murders stop? After Kelly's murder, the canonical killings ceased. Several theories exist. The killer may have died, been incarcerated for another crime, or left London. Psychologically, he may have satisfied his urges or feared capture as police pressure intensified. Forensically, no definitive evidence links later murders to the Ripper, though some speculate he continued less conspicuously. Legacy and unanswered questions. Jack the Ripper's crimes exposed the social ills of Victorian London, poverty, misogyny, and inadequate policing while captivating the public imagination. Modern forensic techniques like DNA analysis have been applied to artifacts, e.g., a shawl linked to Eddowes, but results are inconclusive or disputed. The killer's identity remains elusive, with suspects ranging from Aaron Kosminski, a local barber, to Montague Druitt, a barrister. None have been definitively proven. As a forensic scientist, I note the frustration of limited evidence, no fingerprints, no viable DNA, and degraded crime scenes. As a forensic psychologist, I see a killer driven by dark impulses, fueled by rage or fantasy, who exploited Whitechapel's chaos to become a legend. Jack the Ripper was not just a man, but a symbol of fear, a ghost who slipped through history's grasp.